following up with the discussions, developments, things happening from Nigeria, a lot of stories flying. Over the week, we had a lot of people talking about the coalition. First, we started from the meeting, the neck and both meeting, and of course caucus meeting of the People's Democratic Party. After that, we also look at the issue of course, the PDP saying the problem in the party is over. That's one. Then we heard other things, how some persons from the People's Democratic Party are moving out to join the coalition. And the coalition is made up of people who have tested the water in the past. And it's part of the reason why some persons are saying, well, these people have tested the water in the past, but then are they trusted? Because it's one thing to be tested, but then another thing to be trusted. Moving away from there, the issue of petroleum pricing, I think we are about to have, can I say, a little bit of relief when it comes to the fluctuation of the price of petroleum products. Today you buy at 1,000 plus, tomorrow you buy at 900. But then one thing is the fact that in Nigeria, the price of a commodity goes up, it hardly comes down again. But the market forces, the associations, the people who regulate the pricing of products in the market, they also need to take into cognizance how much money they think people have at their disposal, in their pockets, in their bank accounts, because the economy is such that a lot of people are even struggling to eat, and a lot of people are thinking of how they can even get the next meal. Some persons are rationing. You need to, when you eat in the morning, you skipped your lunch and you wait for dinner. For dinner, you may not even have something to eat. Maybe just a little thing, and you go to bed. And sometimes I sit and I think about family men, family women, the kids who don't even know whether the economy is challenging, whether the money is there or not. All of this put together, you will see that Nigerians are going through so much. But then we also have to look at the fact that the president has promised Nigerians that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. But the questions Nigerians keep asking is, when is that light going to be on? When are we going to see that light at the end of the tunnel? It's one of the questions a lot of people ask a lot of times, so many times. But the truth is this, we need to call spade a spade. Nigerians are going through so much, as it has to do with food security, as it has to do with hunger, as it has to do with pricing, as it has to do with, of course, access to basic social amenity. I have to use the word basic, all right? Basic amenities. The social amenities, what Nigerians need, the healthcare system, the good roads, being able to go to school, affordable, that is potable water, all these things are not there. For instance, people living at the satellite areas of the FCT, the truth is this, we have the Metamas of Abuja, the Asokoros, of course, the big areas, but the Victoria Islands of Lagos, the Lekkis of Lagos, and of course the GRAs of Port Harcourt, and of course every other very good places to live. But what about the people at the communities, the people at the villages, the people who will have to trek a lot of miles, long distances to even get their farm products to the market? What are we thinking about them? Do we know they really exist? And that's the reason why we always talk about check and balance. Who is supervising who? We have supervisory counselors. Sometimes I ask questions. What are they really supervising? What are they really supervising? Because if you get to the grassroots, you will be surprised the kind of things you see. It means the democracy we are practicing now is not all encompassing yet. Well, I think some persons will tell you Nigeria is still growing. Nigeria is a developing country. It's a developing nation. It's still growing. It's still developing. But then, when are we going to have the real teeth? We've been tooting for a very long time, but then when are we really going to have our teeth complete in our mouth? That's a big question. And of course, on Global Morning today, I want to assure you that to bring you the headlines and what the papers are saying today, because a lot of people depend on what they hear from the media. Some persons don't even watch some channels these days because of the kind of things you get to hear. A lot of bizarre things happening. A lot of eyewitness stories on social media. You know, the social media is jam-packed. The social media is jam-packed. But then I keep telling people, it's not everything you see on the social media that you run with. Then some persons don't even know how to use this social media. I think we may be looking at some things in that direction, how some persons make use of the social media. Some persons don't know that there is anything like cyberbullying and what the law said about cyberbullying. There is freedom of information, but then where your right stops is where the other person's right starts. So we need to be very considerate. We need to be very careful. We need to study terms and conditions of the social media before we use them. We also need to know that there are laws governing every society, every of the things we do. That's the reason someone said Nigerians don't read terms and conditions. All they do is, where do I need to append my signature? And before you know it, they go signing. A lot of persons have gotten into trouble because of the things they sign, unknown to them that what they are signing have some hidden implications. But by the time you see that small letter, very long write-up, you'll be thinking, when will I start from? When is it going to end? And before you know, they just go to where they will see signature and just append their signature and they walk away. A lot of people have gotten into trouble just for not reading terms and conditions of contracts they've entered into, of things they've signed, documents they've signed in the past. And that's the reason why some persons have their personal lawyers. When they are given documents, they go give it to their lawyer. There are terms that are even being used in some documents that if you're not a lawyer, you won't understand them. By the time you start hearing indemnity, indemnify, the bearer, the this, a lot of things. But then I think it will be good for us to actually know that as Nigerians, whether in Nigeria or abroad, wherever you find yourself, because I know a lot of people are preparing to travel out of the country, travel from one state to the other. Even as we're speaking now, some persons are on their way out of the country, some persons are coming in, some persons are traveling within the country. Wherever you go, the first thing is you try to study how the environment is working, how things are working, what are the rules, what are the conditions. All right, if you want to sign a document, read the terms and conditions. That's what some persons will tell you, well, I took a loan and paying back, I don't know, I've been paying, but I've not been able to finish paying. In fact, the profit is accruing by the day. All right, the interest is growing. Sometimes you finish paying some loans and the interest hooks you by the truth because we don't read terms and conditions. No matter how it is, we should know it's important reading terms and conditions. Why am I saying this? Because I know this morning as we speak, some persons are going to be signing some agreements. Probably you want to buy a land, you want to buy a property in FCT, maybe in Lagos, in Kaduna, in Nasarawa, anywhere. Know that it is important to understand the documents you are signing before you sign them. The one that you need to make contacts, consultations before you sign. Do it. All right? Do it. It's very important. And of course, this is Nigeria. We know things are hard. But I need to talk about this, that the federal government, the state government, and the local government, the three tiers of government that we have roles to play in national development. Then that brings to mind the fact that the youths are life wires of every society, even at the state level, at the federal level. That's why you see some youths occupying some positions today, because the youths have roles to play. It's either they are playing the role for the good of the nation, or they are playing the role to the disadvantage of the society. But what do we have to do? We need to conscientize these youths. We need to work on their mental ability. We need to empower them positively so they can contribute to national building instead of empowering them the wrong way. Why am I saying this? Some of the criminals that we have today, some of them are people that were used for a particular reason, selfish reason, and maybe we are given arms. When a man is armed, there is this audacity that they have. Who are the people empowering the youths for their selfish interests? And when they get their way, when these persons get their way, they abandon the youths with the arms that they were given in the first instance. And before you know, they are pushed to the highway and even moving from house to house. Today we hear of kidnap here and there, banditry here and there. How did it get started? Just like a joke. Just like a joke. And a lot of people didn't even take it serious until it ate deeply into the fabric of the society. So we need to be very, very careful because of the things we do today. Whatever you do today have implications tomorrow. All right, either positive or negative implication. That's the reason we have to try everything possible to make sure, all right, the decisions we're making today will not bring a negative impact on us tomorrow. It is still Global Morning. It's now time for us to look at the pages of the national dailies, from the Punch to the Nation, of course, to the Guardian, and as many that we will be able to take on Global Morning today. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return and we'll look at the pages of the newspapers.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back. It is still Global Morning. Let's quickly look at the national dailies and see what the papers are saying. On the papers this morning, I'm getting started with the Nation's newspaper. What's the Nation Saturday saying? Above the nameplate, I have this one which says a constitution review will guarantee just federation. Akpabio. Then you have the picture of the Senate president right there by the side. Banks resume international transaction on Naira cards as dollar supply rises. Then now to the big story. ADC, that's the kicker. Wike tackles Amechi, Mark, Malami, others. Some riders to that story, and the first rider says denies ex-transport minister made him politically. Vows to resign over 48 billion naira NDDC payment claim. Another rider says wants president to release forensic audit on commission. Says Nigeria buried under Buhari, Tinubu on rescue mission. Meaning Nigeria was buried under Buhari, so Tinubu is coming for a rescue mission. Well, I wasn't part of that discussion. I would have asked if it is not a continuation of the same project, but then all the same, that's the opinion of the editor and of course the person who made the statement. Details read on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. Controversy trails membership status of Atiku Obi El-Rufai. Some riders to that story. You can't serve two masters, but a judge slams ex-vice president and others. The same question I was asking yesterday when I had some stakeholders of the Labour Party, and they said what's going on is just a consultation, a coalition consultation, and of course these stakeholders have not really resigned from their previous party, and that it's not as if they've joined ADC, but what they are doing is consultation that is going on. Because I was asking what will happen to the Labour Party if the 2023 presidential candidate of the party leaves the Labour Party to ADC, because what really gave the Labour Party relevance was the appearance of Peter Obi. Nobody knew about Labour Party. We only know Labour Party to be workers' party, you know. But then as soon as Peter Obi came into the party gained prominence. And right now there is a coalition he may believe in, though none of them have resigned from their party apart from David Mark, that actually left the People's Democratic Party to be the acting chairman of the ADC. All right, more riders from that story. This one said, Shetima to Dati Ahmed, your frustration has just started. This one says, Sanwo-Olu says anti-Tinubu coalition will fail. All right, condemns political distractors. And Tinubu departs St. Lucia, heads for BRICS Summit. All of that on the Nation's newspaper. Then this one says the 28 killed in Borno, Sokoto attacks. Details read on page 5. Natasha is the kicker. Court affirms Senate's power to discipline members. Court affirms Senate's power to discipline members. Some riders to that story, and the first rider says convicts lawmaker for contempt, fines her 5 million naira. Ask Senate to reconsider her suspension. Details you can find on page 2 of the Nation's newspaper this morning. Well, those are the headlines on the nation's newspaper. The Constitution Review is one thing that a lot of people have been talking about. There is need for the Constitution to be reviewed because if you look at the Constitution, some person said this Constitution has been there for a very long time and there is need for constitutional review. All right. Now we move to the next paper. Which paper do we have next? The Guardian newspaper. Let's see what the Weekend Guardian has for us. A lot of stories right here. The Spotlight, page 10, celebrating Pastor Fodu Adeboye at 77. A legacy of educational impact in Africa. Governor Mba, inclusion, transparency, building strong institution defines our governance in Enugu State. And you can see the picture of Governor Mba right there beside that story. More stories still coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tinubu canvasses just energy transmission. Page 2 is where you get that story. Says climate resilient future is a necessity. A federal government raises alarm over influx of fake solar products. Details you can find on page 3. I don't know, but then the issue of solar, if I was just thinking, just on my own, I was just thinking as a Nigerian and who has been in Nigeria and have had a first-hand experience of some of the things that are happening in Nigeria. And I felt, well, if we can take advantage of the solar system, if we can take advantage of solar, because we have a lot of energy being emitted, all right, from the sun. Now, what will happen? I know a lot of money is being generated by Genco, you know, by TCN and the rest of them. But then what will happen if we take advantage of the solar system to have power in some of our factories? Because one of the things that has bedeviled businesses in Nigeria is power. Because something that a service that you're supposed to get, for instance, maybe for 2,000 naira, is going to be like 2,500 or 3,000 because of the cost of power. Someone will tell you, I'm maintaining the generator, I'm buying fuel. How much is a liter of fuel? If you're even commuting, that's what you hear. So, if we have electric vehicles, we have CNG cars and petroleum, all right, we can export. Yeah, we can export because it's one of the resources that has given us a lot of money in this country before now and even until now. So if we can be exporting and we concentrate on energy and other means in Nigeria, it will help us, it will help Nigerians, it will boost the economy, because a lot of people are going to come up with businesses will be booming, and the more the businesses are booming, the more better taxes people pay, and the more the economy is being revamped. And of course, a lot of money coming into the economy, it will boost the economy. All right, so it's a good one. Right, Tinubu canvasses just energy transmission. Lagos Assembly considers bill on human services in correctional centers. Details read on page 36. Federal government raises the alarm over influx of fake solar products. That's taken already. Nigeria should halt importation of construction materials. This is coming from a scholar. So what happens if it is being halted? Do we have enough to use locally made? Do we have enough? The price is just on a high side. If you have bought construction materials lately, you will know what I'm talking about. All right, more headlines. Remembering Watergate scandal and danger of crippling opposition. That is on the back page of the paper. Poor facilities funding diminish cancer patients' access to health care. Details you can find on page 8 and 9 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. That's going to be the size of the headlines from the Guardian newspaper. Now let's move to the next paper, which is the Weekend Trust. What we have on the Weekend Trust this morning: we are under burden of exorbitant charges. Epileptic supply, band A customers are the ones saying that. You remember there was a time that they came out, all right, they came out to say, well, PHCN said people are in bands. Band A are people that get light across board. They have power supply. Across board, we have people in band B, we have people in band C, we have people in different bands. And your band determine how much of power supply you will get. Those that are in places where light is being rationed, you have 2 days, you have 1 day off, you have 2 days. Then some places are where they have lights 24/7. Places like, maybe some places like the eyebrow areas of the cities across Nigeria, probably. Now, people in band A, they know themselves, and they are complaining now that they are under burden of exorbitant charges, but then epileptic supply. We are not getting the power supply, but we are paying seriously. Why is that happening? We need to have commensurate service for the charges. That's what they are saying. So that should be looked into. And if you want to know who these people are, pick a copy of the Weekend Trust and go straight to page 20. You get to see that the court orders Senate to recall Natasha. Court orders Senate to recall Natasha. Page 29 is where you get that detail. And now to the big story. How far can ADC go? That's the big question right there. The headline is coming with a big question mark. You can see it right there on the screen. How far can ADC go? And a song just came to my mind. I'm not going to sing that song. I'm not going to sing it. All right. But then you can see the picture of the game players there. You can see Amechi right there. You can see Aregbesola right there. You can see Amechi. You can see David Mack. And of course, you can see Atiku Abubakar. You can see Peter Obi right there. And the rest of them, El-Rufai, and all of them right there. 2027 race for governorship hots up. That you can find on page 12 of the Weekend Trust right there. 2027 is really going to be another time again, but I was asking questions, and I was asking myself anyway, and I was like, are we still, can we still have an election that will be like that of 2023? Let me tell you why. I'll tell you the reason why I asked myself that question. Because that's one election that you see people voting, in fact, from every part of Nigeria with enthusiasm. You see people bringing out generator to say, well, come rain, come sunshine, whether it is dark, whether whatever, we must stay here until the vote has been counted. Under the rain, you see people coming with canopies, you see people coming with umbrella to help people that have not voted stand on the queue, unmovable, unshakable, until they cast their vote. It's that same election that you had people traveling across the Atlantic Ocean, traveling across borders to come vote in Nigeria. That's one election that we have people at the diaspora saying, why don't we have diaspora voting? Because everyone was eager to vote. And that makes that election stand out for me. That's one election that people that have not even voted before would have to go queue, do their voters registration, get their voters card, travel from one state to the other, because where they collected their voters card is where they should vote. And you see people traveling. Despite what was going on, the hardship, people had to travel to ensure they voted. But then 2027 is around the corner. Another electioneering year is going to come again. Would Nigerians still come out en masse to vote? I could remember the chairman of the person in charge of the voters' education. I hosted him a couple of times, and all he was saying is, even Pele himself, we hosted him a couple of times, and people were talking about inclusiveness, people with disability being given the time to come and vote before the sun comes, you know, special way of voting, treating senior citizens, the aged, to vote, and all of that. So many things happened in the 2023 election. Can we still have the same thing repeat itself in 2027? That's the question. Look at the coalition, because an APC stakeholder, a staunch APC member, had told me on my program here that APC is just doing a free flow. They are not having a run for their money. The serious opposition is not there, because PDP was in disarray, full of factions. The Labour Party, the same thing, until recently, that their issue is being trashed. I was told by some stakeholders of the Labour Party that their crisis is over. And of course, in the last caucus and NEC meeting that was held at the Wadata House, that's the secretariat of the People's Democratic Party, after that they said their crisis is over, and of course Samuel Anyangu was now made the acting national secretary. After saying all this, that there is no crisis anymore, can we now say it's time for the All Progressive Congress to be given a run for their money? Factions over, coalition coming up. Can we say these people are formidable enough to give the People's Democratic Party a run for their money in 2027? What about Nigerians? Would they come out en masse to cast their vote to support their candidates in the coming election, the upcoming election in 2027? These are questions. The hearts of Nigerians. Well, 2027 race for governorship hot up. Apart from the presidential election, the governorship election, National Assembly election, and all other elections will be happening. But then, let's see how formidable it's going to be. Troops recover 60 IEDs. All right, kill suspected terrorists in Borno. This one says Buhari, David Mack, Amechi, Sirika, Egonga, Bode George in the news. Details on page 27 of the Weekend Trust. All right, moving away from the Weekend Trust, let's quickly go to the Punch and see how the Saturday Punch is really going to punch the stories this morning. As a matter of fact, we won't stop bringing you to speed with happenings, because we are a news and current affairs station, and that's the reason we ensure we bring you to speed with happenings around the world, because we feel you deserve to know, and that's the reason we do this all the time. Now to the Saturday Punch. Huge cost of my trip. All right, what I saw. First Nigerian in space, Owolabi Salis. All right, Abuja strike, pupils turn hawkers, teachers beg for survival in Abuja FCT, where a lot of projects are being commissioned. Some persons will be wondering, why do we have pupils who are supposed to be in school hawking? Why are teachers now begging for survival? Because of the strike action that has been on and salaries that has not been paid. COVID-19 fraud. U.S. court jails pastor as Osun monarch forfeit property. And now to the big story. ADC targets 5 governors as Sanwo-Olu Wike knock coalition leaders. Some riders to that story. And of course, the first rider says PDP governors ready to defect to our party. That's coalition saying anti-Tinubu group hallucinating, says PDP. We regret not marrying more women. Senior citizens are the ones saying that. I don't know. Polygamy, too risky, says retirees. We regret not marrying more women. Senior citizens are the ones saying that. Then retirees are saying polygamy is too risky. Okay. People called me a fool for returning lost 4 million naira. That is a tricyclist saying that. People calling him fool, but then we're still looking and trusting God for a sanctified nation, a nation that is free of corruption, that is corruption free. But then if you want to sanitize this nation, where do you start from? From the leaders or from the subordinate? Because the issue of corruption, a lot of people, when you talk about corruption, their mind goes to politicians. No, not just politicians alone. Just look inwards, look just around you, checkmate people's activities, the way things happen. But they will tell you, well, it's part of the system, but it's not supposed to be part of the system. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. All right, that people called me a fool for returning lost 4 million naira tricyclists. We'll look at the compensations. All right, what is the compensation for these people who are returning huge amount of money? I think these people are even supposed to be recognized by the federal government and of course their immediate society. They should be recognized, and that will encourage a lot of people. Imagine you misplace your credentials, someone find it and they say go to this place and pick it up. Your phone gets missing and you find it. Your money, no matter how large the sum is, it gets missing and you find it. Won't you be happy? You should. But then it needs to start from someone. So I don't see any reason why people should be called fools for returning money that it's not theirs, that they found. A lot of people don't do it. Just few persons do it. But you should know that in as much as the society is being accused of corruption, it's not everyone in the society that is corrupt. So if you want to be good, it's good to be good. I must say that, and I must reiterate it once again, that it is good to be good. Now, moving away from that story, let's go to this story, which says Senate gives condition for Natasha's return after court judgment. Benin Togo owe Nigeria $11 million in electricity debt. That's NEC saying that. Finally, before I call it a wrap, let me quickly flip through the Saturday Vanguard. On the Saturday Vanguard, the story by the left hand side above the nameplate says how PDP governors surrendered South to Tinubu. Page 12 is where you find that story. Home Affairs, the wedding that shattered every rule. This one says 2027, that's the kicker. Dati Amechi push for Southern candidate. Page 5 is where you find that. Mba shines as journalists storm Enugu State. Osoba reacts to editors. Mischief steals show. Details on page 23, and the picture of Mba is right there. The big story on the Saturday Vanguard says, I will support Peter Obi if he merge coalition's candidate. That's Lamido saying that. Just some riders to that story. Obi has support everywhere, including the North. Ibrahim Nakande is the one saying that. He said Obi has support everywhere, including the North. North may have no choice than to support Southern candidates. NBF is the one saying that. North will not be deceived again. Obi may renege. Yeah, that's Mohammed Danlami is the one saying that. Obi seems to be gaining some ground from the North right now. All right, anti-Tinubu coalition will fail. That is coming from Sanwo-Olu, and the details of that you can find on page 5 of the Saturday Vanguard. All right, that's going to be the size of the headlines for today, and of course, pick a copy of any of the national dailies. I know today is weekend, today is Saturday. Some persons would want to relax back at home. Some persons are already getting set to move out for the events for the day, because they said Saturdays are for Owambe, the event, the Auridem, you know. Just go out, but be cautious, be security cautious as you go out. And don't forget that we have so much lined up for you today on Global Television. So, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276, and you can also follow us on our social media handles so that you can know what is happening. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for staying with us on Global Morning today. Global Morning will return tomorrow. My name is Ramsey Enoch once again. Bye-bye for now.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.